Well, in honor of our 4th of July weekend here, we thought we'd take a look at the R.O.Y garden, red, orange, and yellow, because those are very hot colors. And we have a very hot looking garden right now, and one of the very good performers is one of our garden salvias. This is called Red Hot Sally, and it has done quite well. And we found out here that the garden salvias do very well. Last year, with our long hot summer, not a lot of water, our garden salvias performed very well, and this year as well, with all of our rain that we've been getting. It's been a little bit cooler overall. They definitely have grown a lot, and they've performed very well. And as long as we keep these deadheaded, we should have this nice hot splash of color here all summer long. Now, another very hot flower that is very pretty. You'll remember last year when we were talking about summer flowering bulbs, we talked about one of them that you could put on in the ground would be the crocosmia. And that's what we have right here. This is called Lucifer, and it's one of the larger crocosmias. It has the very dark red flowers on it. And you might know this as Montbrisia. That's one of the other names for it. And it is a summer flowering bulb that you can plant in the spring, but it will actually overwinter here. It's hardy to zone 6, and we found that the first year it doesn't necessarily flower as much as it does the second year. And this year, it's been in the ground. This is its second year, and you can see that we've got a lot of flowers on this plant. It gets anywhere from 2.5 to 3 feet tall, and these also make excellent cut flowers. So this is a bulb that you might think about putting in your yard if you want a really nice flower blooming right now. It also looks really pretty with ornamental grasses. Now, we showed you the Bonanza Bolero Marigold earlier in the season, and you can see here why it's one of those All-American Selection winners. We have beautiful green plants, and they're just covered with these orange and almost red, rusty colored flowers all over them. And they also, it's very interesting, some of them have a little bit more of the red in them than others. Some of them are more of the yellow color. And overall, it's a nice look for marigolds. I think this is a very good addition to our R.O.Y garden. Now, we also have the Tropicana cannas. And cannas are something that can add a lot of color to the landscape, even when they're not blooming. You can see here we have these giant leaves, and gives a very tropical feel to the landscape in the bright oranges, reds, and purples, and then we have the beautiful orange flowers on the top. And these cannas don't get exceptionally tall. They're not a dwarf canna, but they're not the 7-foot cannas either. Now, in the past, we've showed you a plant called lion's ear, and you'll remember that it got very, very tall. We had some problem with some of them blowing over. Well, this is a selection of lion's ear from Texas Native Plants Nursery, and it's a little bit more compact. We've noticed a different growth habit to it. You can see down here at the bottom that it's actually getting kind of woody down here. And we got this as a small plant this spring, but it's very compact, and you can see here that we've got flowers that are a lot closer together, and they're very pretty with this kind of fuzzy orange flower on it. I think this is the better plant to get than the annual that we've been planting. Now, this is not hardy here. However, it is a fast grower during the summer, so it's probably going to be one to watch for out in the trade, because it's a really nice addition of orange in the garden. Now, a plant that we're using a lot here, and you've probably seen it a lot, are the Cufia or Mexican heather. And there are two relatives in this garden that are performing very well for us this summer. The cigar plant, or David Verity Cufia, is here, and you can see here where it gets its name. It looks like ash on the end, and this is one of the plants that Steve showed you last summer. Again, this is one that we would put out as a bedding plant, and you can see here it's doing very well in all the humidity that we've had. Now, there's another one here. This is actually from Burpee, and this is called Firefly Cufia. And I actually like this one better. These are very pretty flowers here. And again, we've got the red, and then we also have purple in our plant, and it's making a nice low bush. And this is probably going to be one of those that makes a great bedding plant for the summer months. Now, finally, in our red, orange, and yellow garden, we have another canna, just a green leaf canna, and it's called Lucifer. And it's not from the leaves, but from the flowers. And we've got one blooming right here. We had some that were a little taller earlier, but this canna is a dwarf canna that's actually planted for the bloom. We've got this dark red and then a yellow edge around it. It's not a real clean cut edge. It's very kind of, looks like it's been splattered on there, but this is very eye-catching from across the garden. So these are just a few of the plants in the red, orange, and yellow garden. And it's definitely the time of year to see this garden because it's very hot and it's very colorful.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.